Good day and welcome to another interview around the course on baseline assessment and costing of new policies. With me today are two students that have previously completed this course, and they are going to give you some insights about their experience and the application of the course afterwards, and we're going to have a conversation with them. But before I continue, please introduce yourselves.
My name is Sivuyise Dlova, and I'm the budget analyst for transport, working in the public finance division in the National Treasury.
Hello there, and I'm Werner Krause. I am basically a director also in public finance, and I oversee the budgets of the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development.
I want to kick off this conversation by asking you, what was the value of doing this training? How did you find the course contributing to you as a Treasury official and as a public servant at large?
Because in the first instance, I would say, as a Treasury employee, and I guess as a citizen of South Africa, you'd read about these performance and expenditure reviews that the National Treasury does. And if you'd remember, a few years ago, there was a lot of talk in Parliament about whether these PERs should be released or not. At that time, it was just this abstract idea that I had of what these performance and expenditure reviews might be. And then this course comes along, and then I participate in that. So I guess in that first instance, it just gave me an idea what those performance and expenditure reviews are actually all about. And then there's also value in that it influences the way you think about problems, public finance problems. I'm sure Werner would also attest or agree with me that we do get a lot of budget proposals from departments. We get requests of all sorts of things from the departments. And not that you need to go into the detail of actually conducting a performance and expenditure review on those proposals or requests, but it helps you organize how you think about the policies that might affect this proposal or request, and the institutional landscape as well that affects the proposal or the request. And then it gets you moving, if you go through the actual process in the course, about the logic behind the idea. So if you go through all that, the inputs, the activities, the outputs, what is it that the department is trying to do here, and is what they're trying to do going to be achieved by this proposal? So it helps you organize all those thoughts, and where you're able to get to a point to write confidently about the recommendations that you have with regard to that proposal.
No, that's good to hear. I'm glad that it sort of worked through to your workspaces as well. I want to ask you just something in the course. There was this writing guidance in the course. How did you experience that?
The free writing.
The free writing
prompts.
style. I mean, it sounds strange within this high technical course. We do this as well. How did you experience that?
That was quite a new experience for me, because every day you would get a certain topic, anything really, and it was the strangest topics at some point. But you get the topic, and then you have to just write about whatever comes up in your mind. 2, 3, 10 pages, it doesn't matter how much. Just do some creative writing around that particular topic, and it was it was quite interesting in a few ways. But I guess you learn quite a lot. I did. I mean, your ideas just flow, and you just write whatever is in your head. And all of those free writing prompts helped me, especially during the time of writing. I think it was quite
I find that quite an interesting exercise. I mean, Sivu, what was your experience?
It's strange at first, because I'm writing about really random things. So the prompts would get each day, they are quite random in the beginning, but as you get more and more prompts, they start to be more and more relevant to the work you're actually doing. So it's easy to actually not find value in the beginning, but when you start writing your report and you go back to those prompts that are more relevant to your work, and then you actually say, I remember thinking about this, maybe this will be useful in this report. I think I was making a good point when I was writing about this, maybe I should use this in the report. So at the time you're doing it, it really feels like you're not doing anything
So it
to
sort of
achieve
take-
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you reflect back and you look at what you've actually read, like what you've actually written, there's some things there that you can actually use and expand upon when you actually get to a process of writing about your costing model and the analysis that you've done. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. I mean, it's taken a bit of the nightmare out of writing, is what I hear.
Yeah.
And that was the aim. I'm glad that that worked for you guys. But let me ask you, I mean, I think we have clarity that this course can be of value, but we also have clarity that the course is quite demanding. And how would you prepare, advise a student that's coming into this course now?
No, for me, it was very important to kind of understand what you will be expected to do through the course. You must be very careful about the topic that you choose to go and analyze and interpret and build your model about and write your report about. Because if you don't pick the right topic, or it can be something that doesn't have data, that is very, very, very important to pick a topic that will have data, that you know you can go and analyze and then interpret and then write an agreeable report on.
I mean, in the beginning, I agree with you that you're going to pick a topic where you know there's data, so that you can actually really analyze and use all the methodologies and all the techniques that we are teaching you. Ultimately, you know, longer term, you're going to go to more and more difficult topics and spend more time getting data when you have the time. But for now, it's a very good suggestion. Pick a topic that you can actually do. Let's not go too complicated. In the period of the training, there's some challenges that comes up for you, for the students. Could you list some of those challenges as you were being trained? You realize, I don't have the skill, or no, I wish I understood that better, or something like that. Can you highlight some of those that happened for you, and what would you recommend a student do at that point?
It goes without saying that you would need to manage your time quite efficiently, because the course was very demanding, because you have to attend lectures, like, so to speak, and then you have like tutorials later in the afternoon, and then there's some exercises that you're still expected to do in between, and after all of that you then have to try and go through all the work and produce a report at the end of the day. So all of that takes time, and if you're juggling that with the demands you have at work, so you're trying to juggle this course and the work that you have, it can get a bit tricky. It helps to have a very understanding line manager, which I think was the case with me. So I was able to negotiate some time in a day to actually look and attend to the work of the course. And as for the actual content of the course, it's actually not that difficult at all. It's not that it's stuff you can actually grapple with, apply your mind to, and make sense. It's like, I think Werner has already alluded, it can be quite time consuming, especially in the data collection and collation and analysis part of it. I imagine it's very frustrating when you can't get the data. And I think my experience was that I was working with learner transport. It was not so much that the data isn't there, but it was the credibility of the data. And then you find yourselves having to make a lot of assumptions to try and fill gaps in the data, yes. Which then kind of compromises the recommendations you have. But I guess if you do discuss those assumptions in your report, then you can try and gain some value out of that report.
Okay, no, those are the challenges. I think that's good to know beforehand. You said something very interesting here, Sivu. You mentioned that actually the course is not too difficult. It's stuff that's already in your head. And I really think that that's important for students to understand, that this course gives you a structured way of thinking around a number of the issues you've been dealing with as a public finance official, and brings out those latent knowledge that's already in your head, but gives you methodologies and techniques to bring it out quite clearly onto paper. And I think that's really, for me, the value of the course.
Definitely. Yeah.
Let me just ask you guys, if you have to rate the pain level out of 10, where would you put it?
Pain level?
The pain level of the course.
I would say about...
for me, it would depend when you ask me during the course. At the beginning, yes. I would say, no, this is all right, 5 out of 10 maybe. But then when the deadline is coming and you have to put this report, I might have said 8, 9 out of 10. but it's a pain worth going through, I guess. So I don't know, I want to put a number on the pain because it will scare someone out of it, but it's a pain worth going through.
Yeah, I would also go for about a 6. Yes.
Okay, that doesn't sound too painful. The fun level?
I'd say, like most stressful or frustrating events in one's life, you probably find more humor. It's more fun when you're reflecting on it than when you're actually doing it. So I'd say, like, if you're experiencing pain, frustration, bear with it. It's all worth it in the end. Once you reflect to it, you'll probably find pockets of fun with it. I know the data story with me, the issues we had with the data, it was frustrating at the time. But now looking back, I'm like, I remember when we spoke to that guy and he wasn't very helpful. I remember when we called this person, he wasn't very helpful. And then you have all these fun stories to tell about those people and the difficulties you're experiencing. But like I said, it's more fun when you're reflecting than when you're actually experiencing those.
Yeah. One last question from my side, which is, what is the applications that you have on a daily basis from this course?
You could apply it to everything, and you probably do apply it to everything, but you're not conscious of the fact that you are applying it to everything. Because, I mean, when you do have a proposal or whatever in front of you, first thing you're thinking, okay, what does the policy say about this? Who wants to do this? Who do they have to talk to be able to do this? And you already know. And then if you go back to the course, I'm actually doing like policy and institutional landscape, and then you move on further from that. Okay, so what is it they're trying to achieve from this? And then how are they going to do that? And then you already see, I'm actually looking at the indicators that will indicate to us that this thing is going to work or not, and the resources that are required to actually pull through it, and all those activities that are involved.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your views. I appreciate this.